Hey there guys, welcome back to Coptalks and another video. So I've had a few people asking me what equipment I'll be using for my active attacker and active shooter classes, right? Well, I figured I'd just go ahead and show you. So this is just some of the things that I'll be using for my classes. We have some trainer tourniquets, right? I got a couple of these. I have some trainer combat gauze, right, along with some actual combat gauze, and then even some civilian versions, right? So kind of get people familiar with different things that they have access to, showing them how to pack a wound, basically stop the bleed course, right? I think every active shooter class should incorporate a stop the bleed class. That's very important, because oftentimes, as sad as it is, you're not going to be able to stop an active shooter before it happens. You're going to be involved in the situation once it's already occurring, right? Once it's already going on. So you're going to need to know how to do this stuff. Now, that's just some of the medical stuff. I will be showing how to set up medical kits. I'll be showing where to station them, if you're in a business, if you're in a school, a church, things like that, places where you can keep them, and, how to use them and how to set them up and all that stuff. So that's just some of the medical. For some of the other things, I like to use red guns or blue guns. These are just solid plastic guns, basically. These are good. These actually fit in molded holsters because they are modeled after the real deal. That way, if somebody's using a holster or whatever, they can use one of these. Another option is also training barrels. This is a barrel that goes in place of a Glock 17, Glock 22 barrel, and it does not allow the loading of real ammunition or anything like that, and it's clear to see from the front and from the side that this is a training barrel. Another one is blank firing guns, right? So I'm a big advocate for the blank firing guns. It adds some realism. You get that bang, you get the concussion of somebody shooting indoors or even outdoors. You get the smoke, the flash, if it's in a dark building or something like that. It really heightens the senses whenever people are put into those situations. And it's what they're actually going to experience in those moments. So it's always best to expose people as much as possible to make the training as realistic as possible. So this one here is an EKOL Firat Magnum. I bought this one, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. They do have a full auto version of this too, which this is just semi-automatic, but it acts basically just like a regular Beretta. The front is plugged, so you can see that it's just a non-lethal weapon. It also breaks down basically just like a Beretta, but they also have a front firing version where the flash and the powder exits through the front. This one, it exits through the sides through these little holes right here, so it blows up. So this is actually safe to point directly at someone, or at least safer. It fires 9mm PAK rounds. They're pretty loud. They definitely get the job done, but they are dirty. You have to clean this stuff religiously when you're done. That is just a couple of the pistols. I also have some stuff to convert, kind of like these, to convert live firearms into training firearms. There's also simunitions. There's also other blank firing adapters like the SOCOM, or the Surefire SOCOM blank firing adapter for the AR. And then we have an actual rifle that's been converted, well, carbine, I should say, to fire blanks. So this is, for all intents and purposes, an actual AR-15. It has a real AR lower, AR upper, bolt carrier group, barrel, and everything. These magazines only fit 5.56 blanks. This plastic right here is actually too thick to fit live rounds. This is made by, I believe, SafeTac Mag, yes, and this is modeled after Hex Mag. They also make metal and I believe PMag style, but I got these on a steel, so pick these up. Now this one has a Trijicon MRO, and then on the front it has a Surefire M300. Now, it's worth noting that both of these are complete knockoffs I bought off Wish, because this is just a trainer blank gun. I don't really care. So where the magic really happens on this is in the front. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera too well, but there is an orange insert in there, and that allows you to actually discharge blanks out of it, and that is permanently attached to the barrel, as well as the flash hider there. Flashlight and everything's held on by zip ties and rubber bands. This is meant to be like, if this thing gets dropped, banged into doors, walls, whatever, I could care less. You know, that's what training's supposed to be realistic, and in real life shit happens. It's whatever. Now, you can take this upper and place it on somebody else's lower, right? So if they wanted to, you could convert several AR-15s, like if you're training a law enforcement, you know, agency or something like that, or if somebody in a home defense situation wanted to use an AR. This allows you to actually shoot an AR indoors and really get the full report, the full blast, the bang, and all that stuff, and kind of let them experience what it's like to shoot an AR in their house, in their business, in a car, in whatever, without actually discharging rounds, you know, and all the liabilities that come along with that. But yeah, you can throw this upper on anybody's AR lower and go to town with it. Introducing the blank firing weapons into the training, I feel like, is something that a lot of courses are missing. I know some people implement it, but I just don't see it as widely implemented as it should be. This really brings a whole new level of realism to the training. One thing I actually do during the class is I generally have an assistant or another instructor or something act like they're going to the bathroom or whatever, and while I'm teaching the class, I have this portion of the class where I have them put on headphones, like, or earplugs or something, and kind of get them to go to a quiet place. And in that quiet place, I want them to think of where the exits are in their building. I want them to think, where's the first aid kit? Where's a fire extinguisher? Where's your AED at? Where's, where's something you could use as a weapon? What would you use to block the door? And generally I have them have a piece of paper in front of them, and I write, like, you know, tell them 1 through 10 or whatever. And then while they're putting on the headphones and they're kind of in their zen quiet place and they have their eyes closed and they're thinking, where is this stuff at? I have the other instructor in the back of the room or outside in the hallway or in the next room over discharge about 3 or 4 rounds out of that pistol or the AR, and that kind of snaps them out of it, right? Because chances are you're going to be going through your daily whatever, and it's just going to be, you know, boring everyday situation, and you're going to hear rounds crack off. You're going to automatically have that denial phase, right? By that I mean you're thinking, oh, that's probably a car backfiring. Somebody dropped a book, you know, firecrackers. That's called a normalcy bias. Your brain's trying to justify what it just heard as a normal occurrence, right? It's trying to say, there's no way that's shooting. That's XYZ. But whenever you have somebody in that almost meditative state where they're sitting there quiet and they're thinking and they're picturing things, and then suddenly you disrupt that with shooting, and then me as the instructor in the front of the room, I say, what do you do now? Write down those exits. Write down where that, write down as much as you can in like 5 seconds, because you have to make a decision in 5 seconds. I mean, not, that's just a relative term that I use. You have seconds to make a decision. So write those things down and then see how many you got down. Did you fill out the whole list? Did you forget one? Did you think of something after, I told you, like pencils down or whatever, But it shows you, when you drop the brain into some chaos, a lot of other shit falls to the side, and you're not going to remember a lot of things. You're going to lose fine motor function. That's, get them to write. You'll notice that their handwriting will probably be a little bit more crazy than normal. But it really brings them to that situation of like, oh shit, that's how it's going to be. And if you shoot inside of a building, like in the room next door, or even behind them in the same classroom, when it actually does happen, God forbid if it ever does, but if it actually does happen, they'll already have a sense of what it's like, right? So that normalcy bias may be cut in half, that response, that time. Maybe they'll be like, that's a gunshot. I've heard that shit before. Something like that. Or even just the sound. There's a lot of people that haven't been exposed to firearms, right? So if you put them in a hallway and you put somebody around a corner, right? You have the students over here, there's like a hallway in a corner, and you put somebody over here, and you affect the sound of someone loading a rifle, the mag going into the gun, a round going into battery. You know, you hear somebody charging the weapon, and they now know what that sounds like. So if they hear that down a hall, they're probably like, oh shit, I don't want to go that way. Somebody's loading a gun down there. You know, everybody knows what a shotgun sounds like, but not a lot of people know what a pistol sounds like. They hear it in movies, but a lot of times it's not accurately described, you know. So just getting people exposed to it, not making them expert shooters or expert weapon identification, you know, people, none of that. Just exposing them to it. That way, whenever if it ever does happen, that they're not completely clueless going in. Anyway, guys, I'm going to cut my rant short there. I could talk all day about this stuff. Hopefully you found some of this interesting. I've had a lot of fun putting these together, and I really cannot wait to start exposing some students to this. My lesson plan is coming together pretty well, and I guess we'll just see how it goes. Anyway, guys, really appreciate you joining me in today's video. If you would, please leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. I plan on putting out a lot of content. I know I've been a little slow lately. Sorry about that. It's just been kind of busy for me lately. But yeah, anyway, have fun. Stay safe out there. Get some training. Remember, nobody's an expert. If they tell you they're an expert, run away. Everybody's always still learning. Have a great day, and I guess I'll just catch you in the next one.